So, Slow the Flow project. Can you give me some background to the project and what you're hoping to achieve with it?
Yeah, sure. Slow the Flow Shropshire is a collaborative project between Shropshire Wildlife Trust, ourselves, Shropshire Council, the Environment Agency, and we're funded by the English 7 and Y Regional Flood and Coastal Committee to carry out a series of catchment investigations looking towards reducing and mitigating flow impacts, or flood impacts really. So I'm actually standing right in front of a leaky dam. Leaky dams are really simple devices. They allow your base normal flow to flow through them. When you get a peak flow, they actually interrupt and disrupt that peak flow and slow it. And when they do that, they do a couple of other important things. One, they reduce silt and sediment loading, and they also create some nice wildlife habitat. Lots of aquatic invertebrates actually lay their eggs on woody debris in streams. Now, the leaky dam behind me has been placed on the Albrighton estate, who very kindly allowed us to survey the estate on the battlefield drain here north of Shrewsbury, and they've allowed us to place a series of measures, new features on the drainage system here that actually start to slow flows. Now, why here? Why at Battlefield Drain? Well, just about half a mile off to my left is the Battlefield Service area, and that's a recent development. Over the last 15 years, you've got an accumulation of new buildings and businesses and properties there, and they've been severely impacted by flooding. The shop that's there, part of the garage, has been flooded a number of times, 2007, 2009, and that cost tens of thousands of pounds. It's a business impact. So we wanted to understand what was the problems there. Shropshire Council have since constructed a swale, a highway swale, allowing five of the gully pots, those grills beside the road, to be closed and the water to flow into an open green grass-lined ditch, just again to slow flow, add volume. Why we've got the leaky dam here is because we've actually got a field corner where the ditch runs through, and we've been allowed to create a series of additional flood storage ponds, and we've also lowered the bank that I'm standing on, so the water that's in the ditch can actually spread out, again taking a lot longer to get down to the bottom of the catchment. Above me, upstream, there are 10 more leaky dams, again on a series of channels where flooding impact is less, but we've got more potential to slow flows. Above that, still right on top of this little rural catchment, we have 2 ponds that have been desilted and increased storage. So on a very simple level, with lots of really good cooperation and support from the farming owners here, we've got a series of measures in place that actually duplicate schemes elsewhere in the country. This is Shropshire's first Slow the Flow catchment, and by the end of the next sort of 4 to 5 years, there'll be another 5. It's a nice start.
So what are the next phases of the project? It's a 6-year project, is that right? You know,
Yep.
Where are you going to be working next?
The Rivers team from the Trust, there's 2 of us, there's myself and my colleague Helen Campbell is now currently working in Colmington on the Seafton Brook, has been working with the Flood Action Group there, the Colmington Flood Action Group, and has been doing the initial survey work and starting to talk to landowners and farmers in the area. We've also on the Seafton Brook put in place a very simple monitoring system. So at the top of the catchment there's a rain level gauge, and then at the bottom of the catchment there's a water level gauge to start understanding how the catchments behave. After Colmington we have Much Wenlock, Pontesbury, Shifnal, and a few others, a long list actually, Mike.
Excellent. And how will you know whether the project's been a success? How will you measure, what you've done and what the impact?
There's a number of impacts here. One, it's quite important, is how people feel about flooding. Feel that there's a range of things being done in response to their anxieties or actual impacts from flooding. So Slow the Flow Shropshire is about introducing a new range onto the menu. Traditional measures have focused very much on transporting the water away very quickly, but that leads to issues where you have to increase very expensive infrastructure. It's not a sustainable solution. So one of the measures is how do people feel about the response they're getting. For the Flood Action Group in Colmington, with the additional monitoring, They now have a better alert system for the village. They're working on a community resilience and emergency plan, and we hope in the next 18 months that we'll have a similar range of measures as here on the battlefield range.